Hey, how you doing? Right? So today, I was feeling very genius-like, so I put on my shirt to reiterate. Right? Today's values, they open up a whole can of worms, but I'm gonna keep it light, try to keep it brief, and try to get as much information in without bombarding you, taking up too much of your time. It's just precious. Today's values, as I mentioned yesterday, are competency and contribution. And these are attributes of a root word. So I break down the Latin, the etymology. So you're deliberate in your presentation, embodiment, and development of these values, qualities. So therefore, with the scope of what they mean to you, you can define it. Once it's defined within you, then you can gauge everything else in accordance to if it aligns with your values or does not. I know yesterday my video may have seemed controversial. If you watched it, if not, check it out. The other values too, they all have the same thumbnail, which is my card, my number. Anyway, so who I am personally, when it comes to community, I stand out in every single community that I'm to be associated with by birth and also by former association. Once you define your values, you can see that they may be similar to a community that you were once a part of, friendship group, family sect, whatever. And as you develop and you grow and you ascend and you evolve, you can differ from those previous similarities because you're an ever-changing being. You're all remembering. All these parts of your DNA are coming into their the light switches are clicking on, and you're accessing things within the subconscious and the brain that you were told you'd never feel, never have access to. Like communication is only 7% of words are only 7% of communication. Think of everything that you can see, touch, taste, feel, hear as being that 10% of your brain. So when we're developing these values, we're actually enhancing our natural senses as well as the other sense that governs the rest of the brain that is untapped. Okay, just like junk DNA, ain't no junk about it. They just can't figure out what the fuck it is. And this is what we're here to do. So with competency, to be competent is having the necessary ability, knowledge, or skill to do something successfully, efficient, and capable, acceptable and satisfactory, though not outstanding. This is a building block because a lot of people do not do things or do not start things or do not take those chances because they feel like they don't have a competency for it. But as a newborn baby, you did not have the competency to walk. You had to build it as a skill. You didn't have the competency to talk. You had to build that as a skill. And as you keep going, you go from being capable of babble, this and that, to efficient enough and the or it to being proficient in it, having complete sentences, using language to communicate with other people and convey ideas. So everything is a skill. And I didn't understand how well I just let my brain and my gift do its thing because I was actually going to speak on that is very beginner's mind, beginner's, full journey type of learning. We don't know shit when we first get here, and we have to be taught everything. We have to pick it up and learn it in order to build a competency for it. That is no different. And I was going to touch on love specifically, but it took me back to when we did not know a damn thing. So you have to approach certain things that you feel that you're not competent in, that you're not successful at, that you're not efficient at, that you're not just not fucking getting it, right? Relationships. Everything's a relationship. I have a relationship with my viewers. I have a relationship with my coworkers, family members, people in my neighborhood, because they're in relation to me, right? So when we look at these romantic types of aspects, it seems that we are not proficient or competent in the romance, the sharing of intimacy, right? It's a skill. It's a skill. We're not automatically good at it. Some people are better at it than others. My daughter's first steps weren't steps. I mean, she was stand up on furniture, but the first time I noticed her walking without support, she wasn't running. I mean, she wasn't walking, she was running across the floor. And I had worked the night prior, so at the babysitter's house, I'm dozing off, and I hear, and I open my eyes, and she's running. She decided, okay, I was learning the basics. I'm holding on to the chair, and I'm stumbling, and I'm falling. If I run, I pick up enough speed, I can keep going. This was her idea. This was her way of becoming competent. She ran first, then she walked. And some of us do that with a lot of shit, but we get so afraid because we do the running forward, we trip, we fall, and it hurts. We don't want to get back up and baby step it and walk 2, 3 steps, fall, get up, 4, 5 steps, fall, right? That's the normal. That's normal. But we did a panzona type of thing, and we just ran into shit, and then we felt like, no, that's not for me. I can't do that. I'm not competent. I'm not able. I'm not capable. It's not working. Competency is the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. Effective performance of the normal function from a biological and medical point of view. You know, we have organs. They may not be 100%, but they're kicking. They're kicking at a very competent and efficient manner, to where it's keeping this motherfucking ship alive. You know what I'm saying? It's keeping the boat afloat. That type of thing. So it conveys across different subject matters and different areas of life. Start in the beginning to have an understanding for something. Read about it. Not, well, let me back up just a little bit, because a lot of the shit you're gonna read on, I'll wait. Cicadas are getting really loud. But the stuff you're gonna read about love and relationships, oh my god, they're not always the most helpful or the most healthy. What I was doing as a practice for myself, I was reading things like Sacred Woman, and it's a lot of self-discovery stuff, intimate relationships, and it talks about masculine and feminine, but it's more so the properties, more so than a gender role. And the spirit of intimacy, it was talking about African tradition, and people of all backgrounds can relate to it, because it's talking about bringing the spirit of intimacy into your relations with others, as far as having a certain level of willingness to learn, willingness to share, willingness to evolve. And it takes the shame, it takes the blame, it takes these unnecessary, well, improperly placed energies. It takes it out of love and intimacy, right? And that's exactly what I needed. I grew up in a way where my creativity and my intimacy, to put it into my creativity, that's the way I express my love. That's also the way I express my sexuality. And it was pushed. You can't be that expressive. You can't be, uh, even my body of work had a sense of intimacy to it that intimidated or bothered or scared the people around me because I was so passionate at a very young age. And it was a lot of pushing down and embarrassing and limiting and choking the fuck out of what makes me me. So my competency for it versus my application of it differed. So having a competency, you can be in a room full of people and they begin talking about a particular subject that you know plenty about. The moment you open your mouth, you have opposition. That's only to test to see if you are courageous enough, authentic enough, and have the authority to stand behind what you're competent of. When people are doing these medical journals, when people are publishing these articles, they're bringing what they know to the table, a competency. Even if they don't have a proficiency in it, they're bringing the skill to bring these things to life. They're bringing what you see across the board, what you watch on, what you watch, period. Whether it's TV, whether it's news, whether it's YouTube, everybody is conveying a competency of something. They're showing their creativity. They're conveying ideas. They're showing you their level of understanding and their acquired knowledge. They may not be the best. That's not the point. It's a skill like a muscle, and this is what you're building. This is what we're building. Okay, so whatever you're competent of, you may have many interests. If you've never picked a particular niche and you have many areas that you're good at, you have a competency for, begin with one and start to build it. Take another, start to build it. This is Eight of Pentacles shit. We're trading what we're crafting. We're craft masters around this motherfucker. We're magicians around this motherfucker. We're cultivating imagination, right? With real world practical usage. So here we have this motherfucking value of being competent. You have things all day long that you do that you're competent of. You may not be an IT tech. You may not be a motherfucking photographer or none of that, but your selfie's on point. You have a competency. You know the basics, and you're efficient enough to do and perform in this manner, and it is satisfactory. It may not be exemplary, but you're not striving for that unless it is something that you choose to be proficient in. Okay? This is where we go with this. This is where we're taking this. Why? Because contribution is next. What you contribute. From the Latin contribuere is to, with bestow, with a bestowal. We're bestowing upon others, giving something, producing something, achieving something. It is something that we give. Contribution, to contribute, this is a staple of a value. And this, again, when it comes to interpersonal, personal, and external relationships, it is about what is contributed. A lot of people want to receive, but that's not like the universe. The universe wants to give. The creator wants to give. The divine has always wanted to give. Even though we're creatures who receive, even studying the Kabbalah, it talks about being in a state of bestowal. That's what brings you closer to your divine, your God, your source, your whomever, your deity, nature. It's constantly giving. So what are you contributing? Equal and opposite. That keeps this motherfucker flowing. Okay, this is where the breakdown usually comes. The competency, you know what it's supposed to be like. It's supposed to, you have this idea of what it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like and what it's supposed to feel like. You ever had a picture in your head and you go to draw it and the shit don't look like the very same picture in your head? Your hand doesn't have the same level of competency that your imagination does, because you haven't practiced the skill long enough to bring out that proficiency. It may look like a damn stick man. I'm just saying. But with time, effort, energy, Eight of Pentacles shit, putting in time in that craft, contributing the energy to it, you build it. Craft master. Okay? My daughter is one hell of an artist. It took me forever to figure out what she was proficient in or what she had competency and confidence enough in to build. What she contributes, these sketches. And I used to sketch as a kid, but again, it was something I was competent in and began to pursue. And it was other things that also I was building at the same time. And also other things I was trying to discover about myself. And I let that particular skill lay dormant. That's something else that I can go back and build up on, because I have a basic understanding, basic competency to use it, need be. Perfect example, it's just my name, the name of my company, Celestial Securities. Shit ain't perfect, but my first logo is mine, in my script, in my name, in my, that's me. And so, for my level of competency, I could have taken 2 3 days, 4 5 days to try to get it perfect. But right here at this point in time, this is perfection. Until I build this skill a little more in my editing skills, a little more in my writing skills, a little more, and everything builds up. It adds up to something that I can contribute, right? Contribution. Help to cause or bring about, to give something in order to help achieve or provide something. Your contribution can be you holding the door for somebody, you not knowing that they just had surgery. They're in pain. You don't know it. It's internal, right? You can't see it. But you did something that contributed to that person, whether you know it or not. This whole mass thing, I'm not going there. But my contribution, in all honesty, is to not tell motherfuckers how to live their life. If you want to wear it, wear it. If you do not want to wear it, do not wear it. You have the full authority over your full person. There are some places where people don't. Some states where they are just not allowing that authority and freedom of people being able to self-govern because other people didn't self-govern. So, your contribution, I posted, Rich was going off on Facebook about why people shouldn't wear masks, the proof to refute and refute and debunk, and he's going off every day about these masks. He's passionate about it. I get it. I can feel it, I can see it, and I can hear it. However, the louder you shout, the less people are going to listen. They don't want to hear you. It's when you stop talking that they hear you the loudest. in my opinion and in my experience, because I have a competency for being outspoken about certain things and nothing getting acknowledged just out of resistance of it being from me or being of something that though I know it, they feel its opinion or whatever. So they just like the feeling of opposing something or defending something. So when I no longer speak and I just show, I am the example of my competency and my knowledge and my skill and my proficiency and shit is just being shown. I'm no longer speaking. Now I'm talking now, but you know what I'm saying. I'm no longer speaking, but now I'm fucking doing it. You didn't want to listen to me about manifestation, so I just started manifesting shit in your face. And you don't know how. Okay. Not going blue in the face, trying to bring people along. This motherfucking shit about to say it. You ain't on it, you ain't on it. I'm not sending life rafts and um, fucking throwing a line right now. Either you're in or you're out. Not going to convince anybody. I'm not going to plead with anybody, because those who have ears will hear. Those whose soul resonates with truth, and people aren't afraid to resonate with their own truth, they're going to feel it. And Peace Dealer just said yesterday in his video, the truth in you, it resonates. It triggers a response. When you feel the truth, when you hear the truth, when you know it, the same way a lie does. But more people are overtaken by the contribution of lies nowadays. They know that more so than anything else. But that is your discernment. You know what a lie feels like. You know what it feels like to be lied to. You know what it feels like to tell one. That is your emotional discernment. So therefore you can pick apart. This separation and division has to be from truth and untruth. That's it. You can have two truths that have different perspectives, but then there's a common untruth that they both defy. So just saying that because you have truth, another person doesn't have it, they can have a different perspective of the same truth, but you both refute something that is untrue simultaneously without being in 100% agreement with the other person's perspective. But you come to a consensus that you both share a truth, right? So that's contribution and competency. Continuing. So far we've gone over authenticity, achievement, adventure, authority, autonomy, balance, beauty, boldness, compassion, challenge, citizenship, community, competency, and contribution. We got a long way to go. Because some of this that we're expanding on, they integrate with one another later on. You'll see keywords and other values that use the other values in order to build it. Definitely. So some of these values seem to be byproducts of basics. This list is pretty hefty, pretty girthy, but, and, not but, it can be smaller. It can be more simplified. To each individual person, certain values will be in the top 5, and the others will trail behind. But with a strong sense of these different areas, what they consist of, the breakdown etymology root of what it actually means. So you are deliberate abracadabra with every fucking word you speak. Excuse me. That's what we do. Okay, let me get off this. I got some editing to do and shit, and some oil to put on it. And I'll see y'all next time. Where's the stop?